Hi there, Andrew Jackson, AJ Design Studio. In this video, I'm going to cover a little thought experiment I've sort of worked on today for about 6 or so hours in total. So basically, I've been doing lots of work in Grasshopper with patterning and panel work and stuff like that. So I thought, why don't we try see what we can do in Solidworks, see how successful it might be. So this is the result of where I've got to so far. There's some good things and some bad things, but overall, it's better than I thought actually. So you can see here I've got some pillowed surface on a diamond grid, and they run from the high point in the middle, sort of, and they reduce in height as they go out towards the perimeter of the surface. Now this will update if I update the shape of the main surface and change these pillows from being embossed to debossed, etc., and it all rebuilds. The one thing that you can't really do easily is change the actual number of panels on this easily. Well, you can change it easily, but then you've got to rebuild everything. So yeah, I wouldn't call it easy to rebuild. Okay, so like normal, I'm just going to skirt back through my model and cover some things. This is version 6. Tried to simplify my grid setup. At the beginning, I was making things way too complicated. And there's quite a few gotchas in SolidWorks as far as referencing edges or surface sketches, etc. So this seemed to be the most simple way I've found so far. I'll just roll back to the beginning and explain things. Got a simple surface, symmetric boundary surface. It's got 4 sketches, 1, 2, and the left and right. The right one is just converted entities of the left-hand side, and then the section's on a plane, so you can sort of change the shape a bit. It was just to experiment to see if it was stable. Next up is grid setup. So in the grid setup, I'm using face curves and segments in a 3D sketch. So I've created face curves only in one direction. Then along those, I've created segments, equal amount of segments on each line. So if you haven't used face curves before, it's Sketch Tools face curves, and you can pick a face, and then you can pick UV direction if you want UV direction, or you can pick a position, and you can also choose a reference, so a position vertex if you want it to follow something from outside of the sketch. It's quite handy. So in this case, I've only made face curves in one direction, and they're essentially like extracting an ISO curve from a surface in Rhino. So it follows the surface structure. So if you have any sort of very sharp changes in curvature, you might find that these face curves will bunch up into that tighter area of curvature. So you've just got to be a little bit wary of that. And then to create the segments, it's Sketch Tools segment, and you pick a curve, and you get to pick how many segments you want. That's why I mean this isn't flexible, because if you change the amount of segments in here, then everything that's referenced to these this grid downstream will fall over. So I just picked a nominal amount, and through versions 1 to 5 figured out how many you need extra curves, because every one I'm going to skip one and skip one of these points, but on the next row down you don't. That's how we get the diamond thing going on. Okay, so to make the diamond, I've got this sketch here, which is, as you can see, the diagonal. So that's our sort of diagonal row, if that makes sense. And as you can see, I'm skipping every second one. But that's why we still need these extra points, because everything needs to line up. So those are just line segments, coincident to those points that are in my grid setup from the segments. You might be wondering why I've made the whole width. It's because I need to mirror this back over to get the other direction. I can't just model half and then mirror it to the halfway line, even though this is symmetric. Okay, so next up I've extruded those 3D sketches like so. So they're mid-plane extrude. So I want them to go through the surface, and then I've mirrored those. And then I've trimmed those with the master master surface, this boundary surface 6. I've trimmed those back. Okay, next thing, so I'm going to create a height for the center of each of these pillowed surfaces. So to do so, I'm making these are all fill surfaces. If I was going to do it with a boundary surface, I'd need to create an extra surface through the middle with a height on it, and that was just going to be too much data to handle. So I found this way to make it easier. I've created a second surface, which is like a variable thickness from the master boundary surface here. So if I bring the surface up, it's controlled with the same 4 boundaries as the master surface, but it has an additional curve through the middle, which you can see there gives us some height. So I can make that negative as well if I wanted to. If I decided I want to make these pillows concave instead of convex. Okay, so that's fairly self-explanatory. Next up, I've created a sketch pattern control, which is a series of points. And those points are all taken out of the main grid. So they're the center of the center of each cell, as you can see, and down the middle, down the center line. And then that sketch pattern controls an extruded circle. So to create my pillow height tool, I want one single body. So I've created a boss extrude, which all these patterned circles will be merged into. I've created a circle down here with a diameter. This diameter actually affects the resultant pillow as well, so that's another way to tweak the result. I've extruded that up and it's merged into this body at the bottom, and then I've used that sketch pattern down here, as you can see, to create a whole lot more of those through the center of everything. And then I've used this variable thickness, this pillow height surface, to cut the top of those. So if we have a look in here, you can see what's going on. They're sticking up higher than the main surface, and as they go out, they feather out their height as they get towards the edge, get lower. We have a gradual, the pillows get gradually higher towards the center. Okay, next up is creating all the pillows. So this was just a manual exercise of adding fill surfaces, picking 4 boundaries, and then picking a constraint curve, which is this end curve of the trimmed or the surface cut cylinders. And so that was just basically repeat. That took about, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes to put all the pillows in, like so. And as I said, that circle, that controls some of the shape. I'll show you that towards the end, because the surface is actually trying to fit through that circle, as you can see. Okay, and then I've basically just gone through some features down here to solidify it and to cut the back off it. Right, so like I was saying with that circle, if I bring that up again, turn our edges off. If I go back and change the diameter of that tool, is our extruded circle. Say I made that 1mm diameter instead of 3 and rebuilt. Shape's changed. The pillow almost looks a bit softer now. It's probably a bit lower because this circle, when it's wider, wants to make the pillow come up and be more aggressive. Show you another thing. Let's make I'll make these concave instead of convex. So if I go to the pillow height, control, make that negative 0.5, and hit rebuild. Okay, you can see there, those are now concave. And again, they still vary in height and sort of feather out their height towards the outside of the pattern. We'll try another thing. Let's try changing this bottom section. So I make this curvature tighter on the bottom. Okay, and you can see there that's rebuilt okay. No errors, which is good. So yeah, as I said, it seems fairly robust. This is my Mark 6 version, as I said. Fairly robust, apart from the fact that if you want to have to muck around with the instances or the panel count in each direction in the UV direction, it's nowhere near as easy as it is in Grasshopper to change anything. But at least you can, if you have to do something like this in SolidWorks, it is possible. I'll just try one more thing. Let's make these a bit more aggressive and see if it works. Yeah, so that works. So you've got all sorts of things you can do with this. In my earlier exploration, instead of having these curves on the surface, they were straight lines in between and ended up basically faceting this area. You could put another section through here and end up with triangles. So you end up with each of those triangles will be a planar face. Yeah, lots and stuff you can do. So there we go. That's paneling in SolidWorks. My first attempt. Hope you find this video useful. If you do, please consider subscribing, and I'll be back with some more experiments. Thanks for watching. Andrew Jackson, AJ Design Studio.